DNVR Broncos live, coming to you from Studio A, where the A stands for trade.
God, we're so. Oh, come on. We gotta raise the bar here.
It should be Aaron, Aaron.
No, we're not talking. This is not. This is.
Actually, we do care about that because he made it very clear today. Nathaniel Hackett is a big reason that he is going to the New York Jets.
I don't care. I'm over it.
Exactly. This is why, like, you have an ex, just unfollow him. You don't need to be seeing the Instagram posts. Like, it's just over. I'm not interested at all.
But this is something where now your ex is coming over to your house later this year with their new boy, so you can't totally unfollow them. They're involved in your life, guys. This is the news.
You know that there's a party in November.
Did you watch it?
No, I was in a meeting.
So he seemed to have pulled a quick one on people right when it starts, and he gets into the story. He says, just so you guys know, I'm not going to be, this isn't an announcement today. I'm not revealing anything. And so everyone's like, you got to be kidding me. This is just classic Aaron Rodgers. And then he goes, the decision has been made last week. It's already been made. And then he goes through it and then makes it official. So I'm sure Pat McAfee's viewership didn't like that because I'm sure they'd lost a couple people. But there was 500,000 people tuned in.
I was going to say, yeah, they'll be all right.
They lost me when I heard Aaron Rodgers is going on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, I wasn't going to click on that regardless.
There was no way.
Even if I wasn't in a meeting, I 100% would not have been watching.
Exactly. Also,
damn,
they play
you don't
this,
like Pat, huh?
I love Pat.
Because you're not supporting Aaron when you tune in. You're supporting Pat.
What I'm saying is I'm not moved. I love Pat McAfee. I think his show is fantastic. Probably the best in our space. I just don't, like Aaron Rodgers news does not move me one iota.
I don't care at all.
Well, it impacts the Broncos.
I mean, but again, like dating
it
analogy.
Definitely does. Would you rather play Aaron Rodgers this year or Zach Wilson?
Well, yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
So it does impact the Broncos.
Well,
exactly.
I mean, any free
one game's
agent
big.
impacts it.
Yeah.
Also, really quick, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
We are brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
It's like if
I didn't realize that Zach was going to send us on this Aaron Rodgers bullshit.
How are we not talking
we don't
about
care
it?
about
It's the
Aaron
news
Rodgers.
of the day.
No, it isn't.
Oh,
Not here.
it absolutely
The
is.
news of the day is that teams are calling the Broncos about
Yes.
Jerry Jeudy with a first-round price tag on him. That's the news of the day. Aaron Rodgers, jerking himself off on a live stream is not news.
Yeah. Again, it's like if you broke up with a girl and then you're like, oh, I'm going to see her at a party in November. Let's talk about it right now because we're worried about it. Like it's going to happen at some point.
No,
That's just
you
not
guys
my
are
world
ridiculous.
right
We'll
now.
tie a bow on it with
No.
this. Would you rather have Sean Payton and Russell Wilson or Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett, and Aaron Rodgers?
I'd rather be the Jets this year. I think
would?
the Jets
more
will
wins?
beat the Broncos this year.
All right.
Pizza bet.
The Jets are a good team.
Huge Aaron Rodgers fan.
That's
You heard
true.
it here first.
I mean,
true.
I'm just being honest about it.
He's not
Someone's
good.
saying they're still the Jets. Yeah, the Jets with terrible quarterback play that made a playoff push last year that almost had a winning record with even worse quarterback play than the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Probably going to be worse again this
take
year.
The Broncos.
Yep.
Okay, and we talked about this a week or two ago, and you guys said that. I think it's
But
I think it's a little naive just to say like, oh, they're the Jets. They're just going to be the Jets.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
That's what
I know.
commenters are saying.
I'm just saying I think I guess to me the most valuable chip in the entire equation is Sean Payton.
I disagree. The most valuable equation is the quarterback.
But
it's quarterback, then head coach.
Yeah, but the quarterback isn't good anymore.
I guess we'll see.
I guess
I would love if that's the case, but people would look and say, "What are you talking about, Ryan? The Broncos had the worst quarterback play last year over Aaron Rodgers."
Yes. Oh, the Broncos quarterback situation is not, all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
But they have the best coach for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll see what he does. And they might have the best running game ever.
Ever?
Whoa.
With Samaje Perine?
Samaje
You're a
Perine,
big fan
Michael
of that,
Burt.
aren't you?
I admire Sean Payton's staunch dedication to making the Broncos thick. He's just
They
like,
are.
I want the thickest boys in the land.
Yep.
Bring them here to Denver.
240 plus is all I'm getting.
I mean, Michael Burton, thick. Samaje Perine, thick. Ben Powers, thick. Honestly, Mike McGlinchey could be a little thicker.
Yeah,
But
wouldn't hurt.
all of these signings have just increased the Broncos' overall thickness.
It definitely has. I mean, you're raising the height of everyone with McGlinchey, the weight of everyone with Ben Powers, and pretty much every other signing.
With Nikola Jokic, we might be the thick capital of the United States.
Also,
maybe.
who said we want to see a receiver leave? You did. We did not.
Ryan does, because that's the news of the day. Apparently, is that the Broncos are shipping guys out, according to Ryan.
I don't
Just
like
giving
the fact
receivers
that
away.
if you ever make a headline a question, everyone assumes that the answer that they don't want it to be is the answer.
So what's the exact question that we have on the headline?
Will the Denver Broncos trade Jerry, Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, or KJ Hamler?
Well,
So
the answer.
anyone who doesn't want them to be traded thinks that our answer is yes.
Okay, well then I
Yeah.
want to ask you guys right now. Answer that question. Will the Broncos trade Jerry, Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, or KJ Hamler?
Yes.
I think yes.
Without a doubt. So yeah, you're
That
right.
doesn't mean we want
but
it.
we don't want
it's
it.
not
No.
necessarily what we want, but it is going to happen.
And the more that I think about it, it is what I want.
Wow.
Ooh, why?
Really
Why?
just changed up there.
You did.
So yeah, Ryan does want to run the receivers out of town.
I don't want to run anyone out of town. I just want the Broncos to. I think they would be better off trading Courtland Sutton.
Why?
Cap space and capital.
Okay, so here's the cap space that the Broncos would open up, because that was one of the reasons that you said.
One more thing is it also just like clears the way for Jerry Jeudy to be wide receiver one unquestioned.
If Jerry's that good, though,
He is.
shouldn't
He
he?
is.
Okay, no, but I'm just saying, if he's that good, shouldn't you not have to take competition away from him for him to be the
No.
unquestioned number one?
I don't think you should, but for whatever reason, the Broncos keep trying to, make Courtland Sutton that guy.
But if Sean Payton is as good as you're saying he is, that shouldn't be an issue with the new regime. Because I agree with you. The past couple of years, that's been an issue. I think if they roll with all of these receivers, Sean Payton is a good enough coach. I trust him enough where I don't think that they would try to force Courtland Sutton. Now, I don't think this is going to be something that we even have to worry about in a couple of days or a couple of hours or a couple of minutes. But to me, that's kind of, you are insinuating that you don't trust Sean Payton in that.
Yeah, that's not true. I
then how?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. It's more about like the underlying stuff of just like, hey, Jerry, this is now your room. Like, go be the guy.
Man, I like what you first said about, Courtland Sutton's probably going to be on his way out. That's the receiver that they're going to trade. It seems very clear to me and everything that's coming out. But I don't like having to just give the room to Jerry Jeudy. I think he kind of started taking it over last year, but I hope the reason that they're not trading Courtland Sutton is to say, Jerry, we don't want you to have any competition. We just want this to be your room. We want to give it to you. I hope that he just goes out. And you know what? Jerry's been in this situation before where he's been surrounded by great players and arguably surrounded by even better players when he was in college than this wide receiver room now, at least in terms of how they were playing at the time that Jerry was around him. And you know what Jerry did? He was the number one receiver there. So I hope that's not a reason why they're making that move. But
I just think it's a benefit that you get on top of the cap space, and just the fact of like Courtland Sutton has not been the guy that you wanted him to be for a while.
And all three of them probably think they're wide receiver one. Like all three of them think like, yeah, I'm putting up 1,100 yards this year. And so like Courtland Sutton, it's not about Jerry Jeudy, like you clearing the way for him as much as it's, okay, Courtland's trying to stake his claim to be the number one receiver here. Tim Patrick is trying to stake his claim. Jerry's trying to stake his claim. And there's no real pecking order. It just simplifies things in what is a complicated situation.
guys, I thought we were all kind of going to come on and agree about this, but I absolutely hate that logic. And you kind of just
Really?
added even more onto it. What you're saying is, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but what you're saying is, Jerry just needs to be the unquestioned one in the room. And no, I'm not saying that's what you're saying. That's what I just understood Henry saying. In order for him to be that guy, I want a ton of talent in every single room, and I want the best players to separate themselves. That's not what I'm understanding from what you just said, Henry.
Well, if Courtland Sutton wants to play the X and Jerry Jeudy is at his best there, then it might rub Courtland the wrong way to put him there. It's more of a Courtland thing than a Jerry thing.
Yeah.
So
it's
then
not even a Jerry thing.
It's a chemistry,
Exactly.
locker room type of thing.
So then what you guys are saying is what you're assuming, what I assume you're assuming is that Courtland did not like being taken out of that role last year, and that the Broncos clearly understand that this offseason.
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah,
I don't know what he likes. All I know is I wouldn't like it if I was demoted.
Yeah. And on top of that, I think what Henry's saying is, look, there's only so many balls to go around. You need guys to understand what their role is. And if you're playing if you're playing Jerry as the X and you're going to play Tim on the other side, where does Courtland really fit into this? And I think that this is part of why they're putting both on the market and seeing if someone's willing to blow them away on a deal for Jerry Jeudy, because you could do it the other way, where you keep Courtland at the X, you're using Tim on the other side, and we know Sean Payton has an affinity for big receivers, so he's probably saying, okay, well, if you're going to give me a haul, then I can make this work with Courtland and Tim and KJ and whoever else.
If they view Jerry the way that you guys do, and wanting to give him and wanting to give him the room and really make him the number one because he's that good, I disagree with you that they would even put him on the market and be quietly shopping him, whatever they're doing, because we see how some receivers act. We saw Courtland Sutton's tweet last week when he heard the noise. And then what happens on Monday morning? The tweet that we just had up on the screen, Dan Graziano saying that every receiver but Tim Patrick, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler have been called about, and the Broncos potentially open to moving any of them. The asking price is high. We heard that today from Jeff Howe out in New England, that the Broncos are asking for at least a first-round pick for Jerry Jeudy back. And then Benjamin Albright today saying he wouldn't be surprised if both Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy weren't on the team this year. So I don't think, and I disagree with you guys about that this is about giving Jerry Jeudy, making Jerry Jeudy number one. I think this is, they just want to blow up this receiver room, and whether that's one move, whether it's two moves, they want a big shakeup here.
And I don't think it's about that either. I just think that that's like one potential perk of doing it.
Yes.
You know, it's not a good reason to do it.
But it's not a perk if you're moving Jerry.
It's not. But
No.
if you don't move Jerry, the benefit is that the path is cleared for him. Great comment from someone in there, said, look at what happened to CeeDee Lamb after Amari Cooper was moved.
Yep.
He immediately became one of the best receivers in the NFL. Like, he elevated his game with the more opportunities. So it's an additional benefit, a side effect of letting go of Courtland, that you're putting more on Jerry's plate.
And the reason you do it is purely financial. That's where I'm at. The room with those three, that's a good top three. Maybe you'd love a better number one. Maybe you'd want a better number two and a worse number three. But in terms of talent, you roll into a season with those three, that's a good situation to be in.
Okay,
it's
really
the
quick.
financials, though.
Now you've both mentioned cap hit and opening up space. And here, let's pull that graphic up to get a visual on what you would save by moving on from these guys. With Jerry Jeudy, if you moved on from him, you would have a cap hit of $4.8 million. You would have, his cap hit this year is $4.8 million. If you were to trade him, the Broncos would eat just over $2 million in dead cap, and they would free up $2.7 million. For me, in terms of cap hit, that doesn't do anything for me.
No, but
anything for you?
That doesn't.
No,
but the reason
let's stick with Jerry really quick. Does that do anything for you?
moving Jerry to clear cap space does. Doing it for this year, no. It's the $13 million next year, potentially $20 million, or in that range the year after and going forward. That is the reason why I think the cap space question is big for next year.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
KJ Hamler, if you move on from him, because he was also included in that report that came out on Monday, he has a cap hit of $2.27 million. If they trade him, dead cap of just shy of $700,000, and you'd save $1.6 million. Pretty negligible again, just like Jerry for this year. And then Courtland Sutton, here's the big one, especially for this year. He has a cap hit of over $18 million this year, dead cap of $11.5 million, and you would save nearly $7 million if you move on from him this year. And then, like Henry said, it does open up even more moving forward.
A little over 17.
My feeling on this, and maybe this is a hot take, is that 1-for-1 with the $7 million that you free up with Courtland, you could get a equal or better receiver.
I don't think so.
What a bad contract then.
I think
It turned out bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying if that's the case, because he's making 17. So then you have to view it from who's going to be trading for him. Probably a wide receiver needy team. You know who one of those teams is? The New England Patriots, who have called about Jerry Jeudy specifically. Maybe the Broncos will try to work in Courtland Sutton in there, but you're going to go to a wide receiver needy team that has some cap space. And here's where I think it's tough for the Broncos, is that team's not just taking on, $7 million in cap space this year. It's they're taking on that $20 million-ish next year in cap. 13 in cap because the Broncos take some.
They'd take 14, 13, 13.5.
And you said that, Courtland's maybe worth around 7, or the Broncos could get a better receiver for $7 million. So doesn't that drive down what you're able to get back for Courtland?
He's, to me, better than Jacoby Myers, and Jacoby Myers got 11 a year.
But that's not what Ryan said. So
No,
I'm
it's
asking
not, but I
Ryan
disagree.
about
Yeah.
his value.
Yeah, and I'm, I guess, rounding up a little bit to like 10. With that money, I think a $10 million receiver could actually produce more for you than Courtland.
I don't think so. I just don't know who that guy is. Like, I mean, you look at the receivers who are paid right around where Courtland is, and it's guys who don't put up. Like, I'm not saying it's a great deal for Courtland, but when you give a guy $13, $14 million a year, you get your 800 yards out of him, and you probably want 850, 900. Like, you're not far off, and then you throw in how bad the offense was last year around him. I mean, he's a plus value still to me.
It's the disappearing for me. It's not the full season. The full season, what did he end up with? How many yards? 800 something?
Yeah, right around
A
there.
little over 800. I mean, that
829.
That is certainly not wide receiver 1 numbers in 2023.
No.
It's fine wide receiver 2 numbers.
It's pretty good, I think.
In 2023, but if you look at the games, I cannot have my wide receiver 2 disappearing for months on end. It's just I just can't have it. So that's my issue with Courtland. The talent has always been there. It's certainly fallen off post injury. He shows that he can have games where he blows up, and then you say, oh, maybe Courtland's back, and then for whatever reason, he falls off the face of the earth for 2 weeks.
Or more.
And it's like you just paid him, so if you're essentially paying him $1 million a game. It's like you paid him $3 million for 2 catches in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He was also number 34 in the receiving leaderboard with 3 tight ends in front of him. So that is low end wide receiver 1 production.
Let's break this down, because I think there's more wrinkles on both sides to this. First, I got to tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, though. Tomorrow, the madness begins at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to go over to Run Your Pool, join our league, and get over to DraftKings Sportsbook to get all the action. I mean, it is going to be endless fun from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m., or do games even start at 10 p.m. and they go till midnight tomorrow? It's going to be an absolute blast. No better place than DraftKings Sportsbook, because they're going to give you $200 bonus dollars to play with. You bet $5 over at DraftKings Sportsbook, they're going to instantly give you $200 in bonus bets, and those bonus bets can be used right away, and no better time than with so many games going on at DraftKings Sportsbook. So check them out. Use that promo code DNVR when you sign up to get in on the madness tomorrow with $200 in bonus bets. Make sure to see our show notes for details. Restrictions apply. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Oh, we probably have one more.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I was looking through my numbers.
Chomping at the bit to get a point
I
off
know.
here.
This is a feisty. Why don't you tell us about Foco? Someone.
Foco.
There we
Jeez,
go.
all sitting on your dish here.
I expected Henry. He usually gets the
My
second
computer's
ad
all
read of
slow
the-
right now.
Yeah. Foco, get over to Foco. Check out all of the amazing things they have, which is pretty much everything you could imagine with a Broncos logo on it, or whatever your favorite team is. But bobbleheads are one of their specialties. We've got a great one right here on the set. Mini helmets, Broncos Crocs, Lego sets. I mean, top to bottom, anything you want with the Broncos logo on it, they have it. So get over to Foco. Use the code DNVR for 10% off there.
Boom, there we go. Okay, who wants to, everyone's chomping at the bit.
You're still talking about the full season numbers.
Yeah.
But it's not about the full season numbers to me.
That's
Also-
how receivers work, though.
Also,
Like, there's only a dozen of those guys who give you 60, 60, 60, 60 all the way through.
really, really quick though, because I think there's
I think
there's something else in what you're saying, Ryan. Who was whether it's who was or who the Broncos wanted to be, who was the number one receiver going into last year? Who did the Broncos want to be the number one receiver?
Courtland Sutton.
Absolutely.
Sutton?
Well, once Tim Patrick got hurt.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, even then, it was still Courtland.
Yes, it was Courtland Sutton, in my opinion. And Courtland Sutton had the 34th most receiving yards in the NFL. And yes, I'm sure there's, 3 tight ends included.
Yep.
Yes, so 31st most receiving yards. He was supposed to be your number one. Jerry Jeudy was not supposed to top him. That wasn't supposed to be in the plans. And he ends up at 31. So, Henry, you kind of make the cases that's, he's a wide receiver 1. Look at the numbers he's putting up. I say he's the second worst wide receiver 1 in terms of production. And now there are a lot of nuances of the quarterback, who's throwing him the ball, all of those things. But how many times are we going to go through and say this about Courtland Sutton? And, maybe in a year or two, we're talking about it with Jerry Jeudy as well. But Courtland's consistently just ending up here. Even his Pro Bowl year, he ends up, and people are like, wow, 1,000 yards. He finally got it. He had the 22nd most receiving yards that year or something. He is not becoming this true number one.
He's not winning
a number
50 balls anymore either.
But again, that's a small sample size. Like if he catches 3 more, all of a sudden we say, "Wow, what a year!" And he
had
didn't.
900 receiving yards.
I can't think of like a 50-50 ball that he caught last year.
He caught one over Montrell, Washington.
Yes, over Montrell.
He was supposed to have one a game, 1.5. I mean, that was supposed to be his thing.
I mean, nobody's doing that. Like every other week is when you get one.
Okay, so every other week. So you're supposed to have 8 or 9.
Yeah. And you didn't get it. But again, that's a small sample size type deal. Again, I'm not saying he's a wide receiver.
I don't remember doing it the year before
saying,
either. I think this is a huge sample size.
Okay, so here's my question: is where do you use him if he is not at the X?
He's a deep threat to me.
He's a deep threat that has caught 2 touchdown passes since signing his deal, 25 games ago?
Yeah.
Deep threats are supposed to be, and deep threats are also typically red zone threats. And I think you can say Courtland Sutton's supposed to be a deep threat and a red zone threat. 2 touchdowns?
Tim Patrick, in my opinion, might be a better deep threat.
I'm right there with you.
Courtland Sutton, I think, runs better routes than Tim Patrick. But Tim Patrick is taller than Courtland Sutton, and I think faster than him.
Here's a
I
fun
think more
stat.
aggressive at the ball too.
2021, year after Courtland's injury. I think Frankie Abbott actually threw this up, so I'll credit him. I think that was it, but I was able to go back and find it. Most snaps with a receiver of anybody reaching 20 miles per hour. Henry Ruggs. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Number 3, Courtland Sutton. Again, he is fast. He's a big,
that just
fast,
doesn't do
physical,
much for me though. When
when
you're
you're saying Tim Patrick is faster, Tim Patrick is not faster than Courtland Sutton.
I didn't say that, but
No, you didn't, but Ryan did.
What was
He said he's faster.
What was Court's 40 time?
Like a 4.4 something, I think. I don't know if 40 times, but functional speed is right there.
Sure, yeah. What's happening with it?
He gives you really good wide receiver 2 numbers, and he takes it for wide receiver 2 money.
I'm just trying to imagine where he is actually playing on the field.
Also, right now he's not getting wide receiver 2 money on the Broncos. He's getting wide receiver 1 money on the Broncos.
End wide receiver 1.
No, but on the Broncos, he's the highest paid guy.
He is the highest paid guy. But in terms of in the league, you look at all the receivers who are paid what he's paid. We can pull up the list, but they're not putting up the numbers he's putting up.
What's Adam Thielen going to get paid?
He'll be cheap, but he's also going to give you 500-600 yards.
But I at least know
for a year. I don't know.
I honestly have no idea what he would do, but at least know exactly how my wide receiver room shakes out. I'm putting Jerry on one side, Tim on the other, and Thielen in the slot. That makes sense to me. I don't know how I'm going to, and obviously Sean Payton will figure out a way to utilize Courtland Sutton. It's not as simple as you need it to be that clear, but I just don't know what his role really is. Because, sure, he might be able to run fast. He's not doing anything with that speed.
Just really quick, because what matters on a year-by-year basis is your cap hit in terms of how you're viewed. Courtland Sutton has the 8th highest cap hit in the entire NFL this year. So now if you view it by average contract, I believe he has the 24th. So you can make more of a case. But even at 24th, he's still the 34th. The 31st, so he's still disappointing there. But then if you want to look at it at cap hit, if you want to look at it
on rookie deals, though,
if you want to look at it at cap hit, though, Henry, then he's supposed to be a top 10 receiver. He has never once been a top 10 receiver.
No, he's not. But he's a good wide receiver too. And at $13 million, or I guess it'd be $13.5 million for whatever team takes him on, you'd love to have that contract. There's
So-
a reason why there's buzz for a second round pick.
Really quick. Oh, we got to talk about that in a second. Really quick. Right now, what's the Broncos depth chart at receiver? It's 1, 2, 3. Or 4 if you think KJ would fit above someone.
Jerry Sutton Patrick would be mine.
Jerry Sutton Patrick?
Yeah.
I think internally they might view it Jerry, Patrick, Sutton.
I think without a doubt, that's how they view it. And that's how they viewed it, and that's probably how they view it. There's probably a reason that Tim Patrick isn't being brought up in any of these trade conversations. It's the one guy, even Jerry. It seems like they want to keep Tim more than even Jerry with where things stand right now. So Henry, then, I don't think it's boiling down to, and I think we probably, I should have brought this up earlier, I don't think it's boiling down to, is Courtland a bad number 1 or a good number 2? I think they view him as your number 3.
And then he's a really good number 3.
For those numbers?
But the money doesn't work
Exactly. And that's what I've been saying all along. This is just a money situation where you're giving Courtland a $17 million cap hit next year. Jerry's going to be 13, and that's only going up. Tim Patrick is, 12 or so next year. That's just not a good plan, especially when the Broncos are already $20 million over the cap for next year. So it just makes sense to clear some space out. And that's why. It's not because Courtland Sutton isn't a good football player. He's a good football player. We've seen him for 4 years. Jacoby Myers just got $11 million a year. He had 866 yards in his best season. He's not getting overpaid. You just need to clear out some money if there's a good opportunity to do it.
This is, and I'm pointing at myself here, guilty. It's an issue of expectations versus reality. And so since Courtland has fallen under expectations, then I view him as worse than he probably really is. It's the same way that I was explaining last night with Niners fans and Mike McGlinchey. You know, they're a championship contender who drafted a right tackle in the first round and expected him to be the guy. He wasn't as good as they thought he was going to be, and so now they hate him. I don't hate Courtland Sutton. I am disappointed with who Courtland Sutton has become, and it's almost entirely because of the disappearing act. Good receivers just don't disappear for multiple weeks, or I should say great. I think he is good. It's just his good is not living up to the money, especially when there's two guys who I think the Broncos value a little bit more. We'll see with Jerry. I think I want them to value Jerry more than they actually do. But out on the market, you know, you have Adam Thielen, Chosen Anderson, DJ Chark. You know, these guys, which could be Juju Smith-Schuster, that you could replace Courtland's role in the not role, but position in the wide receiver room with one of these guys for cheap. And I think that your wide receiver room doesn't take a massive hit.
And that's why if you can get a second, third round pick, they're probably going to do it.
So then that's where this conversation moves to, is a lot of these reports have been saying the Broncos aren't just going to give these guys away. They have to get good value. We've heard Jerry Jeudy, they're asking for at least a first-round pick. If that means a first and a second, if that just means it has to be a top 10 pick, we can talk about that. But what is it for Courtland Sutton? What is it for KJ Hamler? We haven't even really talked about KJ Hamler. Do we think that he's someone that, you know, sure, you get something back, but then you're still shopping either Jerry or Courtland? That's kind of the sense I get from the way our conversation's going, is it's probably going to be Jerry or Courtland, and then maybe KJ as well. And with Ben saying that they could move on from both Courtland and Jerry, what are we talking value-wise? Do we think that the Broncos are playing hardball with that stance of we're not just going to give them away, or do we think at some point one of these guys goes for maybe not a high asking price?
It's a good move to play hardball. Like they're both coming off of what you would think is tough years for them, given just how bad that offense was. You're probably selling low if you sell them right now. So if you don't get even a first round pick, it better be top half of that first round for me to think about trading Jerry. And for Courtland, I mean,
if I'm trading Jerry, I'm wanting to just get another receiver.
Exactly. That's what you would do. And again, like the question is whether
like
you're
the
trading
Justin Jefferson move.
Exactly. Is it Stephon Diggs so you get Justin Jefferson, or is it AJ Brown so that you get Treylon Burks?
Yeah. Because
it's worked once and once it hasn't. And again, like you look at the receiver room, it's in solid shape. You're in good shape with receivers. You don't need to touch that just from a purely football standpoint. You gamble, all of a sudden you're opening up a bunch of risk. And that's why, like, unless you really get something good for Jerry, I'm not touching that. For Courtland, though, late second round, like that would be tough to turn down.
I would assume the offers coming in on Courtland are starting in the 4th.
Really?
Exactly.
You
I
so?
think when we had this conversation a while ago, I think I gave a little push. I should have given more pushback. I do think it's a day 3 pick for Courtland, and starting in the 4th, may even be like a 5th rounder.
But there's never been a better time to try to trade these guys because there are no Courtland Suttons on the market. If you need a big, fast receiver, you can't find that right now.
Aren't we talking about DeAndre Hopkins potentially going for a 2nd-round pick?
Potentially, yeah. And
He would
also,
cost
Alan
more,
Lazard,
too.
I guess, was the one big, fast guy. And he's going to the Jets.
He is going to the Jets, and that's, I think, another reason why that it points to Courtland Sutton being the guy they're traded, because the Broncos were in on Alan Lazard. They wanted to get a deal done with him. They were close to making it done, and from my understanding is a big reason why it wasn't done is because the Broncos hadn't traded one of these receivers yet. And so to me, that
they were afraid to pull the trigger, or he didn't want to come here in
I think it was
room?
on their side, from my understanding, the Broncos side.
They weren't sure. Okay.
Yeah,
They didn't want
just
to
didn't
have
want
their
to be
hand forced.
Well, and then what happens too when you sign Alan Lazard, then
Everyone knows
Yep.
you're just
Then
trying to get rid of
then
these guys.
then Courtland's value goes from a 4th to a 6th, a 7th. Jerry's now you can't be asking for a 1 anymore, something along those lines. And so that's something in this as well. Is I think you said they can play hardball. If they want to sign someone else, I actually don't think they can
They
play
would lose their
hardball. They
leverage.
kind of have to start trading one of these guys soon in order to sign someone else.
Maybe what if it's a trade that involves DeAndre Hopkins?
Maybe.
Like the Broncos are sending a receiver to Arizona.
Yeah, or somewhere else that's
Three-way
willing
trade or
to trade a
something?
wide receiver. They're including Courtland Sutton in that deal.
You know, the Broncos with their free agency and the path that they've gone on, more so going all in this year than I think any of us thought they would. Sign me up. If the Broncos are going all in, let's do it.
Yeah.
Also, it's another fun stat. Nobody drew more pass interference calls than Courtland Sutton last year in the NFL.
That's impressive.
Yeah, again, just throwing it out there. Over the cap has him valued at $11.3 million for what he did last year. That's what he was worth to the team.
And you're paying him $18 million this year.
What's really
Yeah, but against
interesting
the
to me
averages.
is that going into the Colts game until the very last play of that game, it felt like Courtland Sutton was the only wide receiver that Russell Wilson trusted. Mm-hmm. After that game,
Yeah,
it felt like he didn't trust him at all.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So are you taking it? A team reaches out and says a 4th for Courtland.
No.
No,
Really?
no.
I just...
You're just getting worse.
Yeah.
There's just no reason. It clears out money next year, I guess, but you could just save, $11 million moving on for him next year. So you're down $6 million next year. That's fine. Especially if you're going to, you clear $6 million this year. If you're going to wind up spending that 7-8 on a replacement who's not going to give you the same production, then you're just falling... You're hardly gaining anything. Plus, he might up his value anyway.
It's a third to get the... I think a third would get it done for me.
Okay. And
I
I
still
think
probably wouldn't.
I think it's going to be a day 3 pick. And I do think
And you
that's
think
what
it
ends
gets
up
done?
happening. Yep.
Wow.
I think that's what ends
Really?
up happening for some combination of a day 3 pick or day 3 picks. Now, Jerry Jeudy, a team offers you the 32nd pick. Okay, 31st
Hell
pick.
no.
No
Not the
shot.
Chiefs. Not the Chiefs.
No shot.
Hell no.
No shot at all.
No.
A 1 and a 3.
What one?
In the 20s.
Is it a prime top 5-3?
It's no, because if it's in the 20s,
That's the
then
sweet
it's
spot of
the
yeah,
draft.
it is
Yeah.
sweet. No, the Broncos have all those picks, so they
That's
can't be
true.
acquiring those.
Still no.
Still no.
Still no.
Yeah.
Now put yourself in the Broncos' position when they say they're looking for at least a 1. Do you think that would get it done? The 25th pick and I don't know, mid-3rd pick.
It'd
I
be
guess
close.
it'd be a
Probably.
bottom 3rd pick.
It'd be close, yeah.
Probably. I bet you they would take it. If they're doing this right now,
Yeah.
I think they would take it. But like I said, I think if you're doing this, you're trading Jerry Jeudy to draft another wide receiver.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a guy as good as Jerry Jeudy in the late first round.
I know
Don't-
you're looking at you're hoping Jordan Addison falls just because he tested so badly. But again, you're hoping to get Jerry Jeudy, most likely.
I think
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the 32nd pick because that's or 31st pick, I guess, because that's the
Eagles.
Chiefs. Since the Dolphins don't have a pick, so the last pick in the first round is the 31st pick now instead of 32nd. So I'm gonna say the 30th pick because it's not going to the Chiefs. I think the Broncos take it just for the 30th pick.
That's disgusting.
I think
That would be
I think
terrible.
it's very easy for them as well.
Really?
Why? What are they doing with that?
That's such a prime. According to some people, that's the best player on your football team. Like there's
Second, he is the second best.
I don't think so.
Who do you have second? Justin?
Yeah, I mean
That's fair.
Justin's up
So
there.
he's the third best.
In terms
Like
of,
is Randy
in terms
Gregory
of,
healthy? Like
In terms
No,
of in terms of
never healthy.
in terms of talent,
yeah,
he's the second.
And then you start
best.
getting into those offensive linemen. Like he's arguable. Like you throw McGlinchey, you throw Bowles, you throw Powers, you throw
No, I
Miners, you throw Jerry. Like that's
Jerry's in a whole other tier than that. for me.
really.
So wait, then Henry, if you're knocking Jerry's value down, and understandable, so I understand where you're coming from. Why then not a first round pick for him?
Premium position. There's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver is a premium
It
position
is.
It is
now.
now.
It is now. Yeah. I mean, you
Wow.
look at the money they get, and to get a talent like Jerry, especially again, the other part is you're selling low right now. Like if Jerry doesn't get 1,000 yards this year, I'll be surprised. Assuming I guess he stays healthy. You gotta throw that stuff in there. But I mean, finishing number 22 in receiving, that's a pretty good spot to be in that terrible offense we saw last year, especially when you throw in like who's in front of him. Oh, you've got the 2 receivers from the Dolphins, you got the 2 receivers from the Eagles, the 2 receivers from the Seahawks, the 2 receivers from the Bills, potentially from I'm not sure if Gabe Davis, but the point is like that's an average wide receiver 1. And you've got him for cheap this year. You've got him cost controlled the year after. You think he's going to improve. At least if you're Sean Payton, you're saying, oh, Nathaniel Hackett got this guy 920-something yards. Guess what I'm going to do with him? I'm Sean freaking Payton. Like, it's just, you got to really give me something good for me to be interested in moving him.
So you just, in my mind, completely killed Jerry's value with that argument.
How?
Saying that Jerry is an average number 1 receiver, saying he's
Yeah.
the 22nd, he had the 22nd most receiving yards last year. That's not worth a number 1.
Really?
Or that's not worth a first round pick. No, not at all. Now, how a team
Chase Claypool was a number 2.
how a team gets sold on Jerry Jeudy is just going back to the talent. And it's more of what
I
he
don't think it goes to the
it's-
quarterback.
and
it's
maybe
what
even
he-
in front of
it's
all
what-
that, the fact he's 23.
It's what he hasn't done yet and the potential. You're getting a first round pick from him because someone is sold on the potential, not the numbers. Because those numbers are not worth a first round pick.
No, but it's the numbers with your quarterback.
Yes. And the numbers.
I don't think the numbers come into this. I think it's people saying it's still being sold on the routes that he does.
routes are amazing.
Yes, exactly.
And again, he's
I
only
don't think-
23.
I think the numbers just hurt the argument.
3 years.
I think
no.
they help.
The
because
3
you
years was
say
prime.
That was one of the worst offenses we've seen in the modern era. And Jerry Jeudy somehow put up 925 receiving yards. We just put him in our offense with Trevor Lawrence. Then,
Easy 1,200.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what teams would look at.
I think it's just the potential. And that's why we have some people in the comment section, including Peyton Manning,
Wow.
who says Jerry has a talent to be a top wide receiver somewhere else. And then he also said in another comment that we are way too high on Jerry. I think the Broncos are setting, and it's coming out that the Broncos are wanting a 1 and at least something else so that they settle on a late 1 or a 2. And what was it last year at the trade deadline? And I know things changed after the trade deadline. But the trade deadline, the Broncos were asking for a 2 for Jerry Jeudy, and they weren't able to get that. Now, after what he did the second half of last season, which is when he played the best football of his NFL career, I think you get that too. And I think that's why, to me, I'm kind of for Jerry. I think it's a late 1 or a 2. Not necessarily what I would give up, but I think what the realistic market is.
Chase Claypool was worth a 2, though.
And that was a bad trade.
It was.
It was.
It was awful.
If
yeah.
If the Broncos trade Jerry Jeudy, my expectations for Russell Wilson go off a cliff. I just go to nothing. No
Yeah,
expectations.
and there's just no replacements for that talent out there. Like, you're gambling on a rookie. Like, that's your only hope. Like, there's nobody out there who can come close to, like, there's no 1,000-yard receivers on the market. Jerry's going to put up 1,000 this year.
Yeah.
Jerry's not 1,000 yards. So, I mean,
No, but he's going to put up 1,000 this year.
You're saying there's none on the market.
There's none who are
Jerry's
going to give you
also
1,000.
Not 1,000 yards. If you're, if you're just looking at the stats, though, if you're going to say those guys aren't, you can't say Jerry is.
No, I can't because I said no. None of them are putting up 1,000 this year. None of them are doing what Jerry's going to do this year.
To be fair, we thought that last year too.
And wait,
We all thought Jerry was going to be 1,000.
Well, yeah,
we did think he was going to be 1,000.
We thought Russell Wilson was going to.
I know.
We did think
I know,
he was
but you
gonna be
can't
good.
just say it like it's a foregone conclusion that he's absolutely going to do it. Do I think so? Yeah, I think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. But again, I thought that last year.
If they trade Jerry Jeudy, I think one of the reasons is they don't like his blocking. And then I might just be expecting the Broncos to run the ball 50 times a game.
And he blocked better than Courtland last year,
Which
is surprising. But yeah,
Alan Lazard,
Great
good
blocking.
blocking wide receiver.
Yep. I mean, why not just go get Julio Jones and play him in blocking downs?
yeah.
There you go. Okay, so now, really quick, KJ Hamler. How important is this for them?
It doesn't matter. You can trade him for a 7th-round pick and have a flyer, or you can take a flyer on his health, which
Exactly.
has never worked out.
And typically, I'd say you just hope he gets healthy because then the maybe at the deadline he can improve his stock a little bit. The fact that they don't have any picks makes you wonder if maybe they should just accept the 7th and have a pick in that round. But yeah, I mean, he's just those flashes. It makes you wonder if he has a real offseason, if he can just play good football up until the trade deadline, you would get more from him.
Yeah.
That's just such a gamble. KJ.
What I don't want is the Broncos thinking this is our deep threat
Exactly.
and not doing something else to fix that.
Yep.
I agree, and it's clear that they, just like we said last year, don't rely on, if you're going to keep KJ, don't rely on him. And if he comes to be someone that you can that can play, then that's just a cherry on top. But don't go into this year. And I think with him being mentioned in some trade rumors that they're not counting on him anymore.
No.
So I agree with you guys.
What sucks is I love KJ when he plays.
Yeah, he's sick.
He's a good locker room guy. Everyone likes him. And it's just, you can't do this. You can't count on players who don't play.
7 catches last year. For his dynamic
I know.
and
What did he average
fun
per
and
catch?
probably a lot, but I mean that's what you're getting.
Oh, I know.
And he was
how many games did he even play in?
He was getting downfield and bringing contested catches too.
Yep.
They were
in
there were
London.
catches Jerry can't make. That's it's just it's such a waste for him to be hurt.
Okay, so what happens?
The Broncos trade
Wait.
Portland.
Okay, continue.
Yep.
Sorry.
And KJ.
For what?
And they net a 3rd and a 7th.
I think they trade Courtland and they wind up with 67, 68, 69. They get all 3 of those picks back to back to back. I don't know who has
Sweet
that
spot.
pick.
And then they trade that to go up into the 2nd.
3 picks is worth like a 1st-round pick.
It would get you up there.
So you really think Courtland can get that?
No,
are you
he
just
gets
being-
2 of them.
Oh,
They
he
already
gets-
have 2 of them.
So he gets one of them.
They always,
one.
yeah, exactly.
He gets one.
Yeah.
I think
they have 67, 68.
What happened to you saying that they're going to get a 2nd for Courtland?
I think it's 69. I think it's at top of the 5th. Or 3rd. Sorry.
of the 3rd.
Top of the 3rd. Top 5 of the was what I was thinking.
And I think they get a late 4th for Courtland.
Really?
And then maybe no,
Chase
I don't
Claypool
even
was a
think
second,
I don't
though.
even think they get anything for KJ. So I think he stays on the team or something.
Okay.
I think Chase Claypool is a trade that every GM except the Bears is just going to throw out the window and say no, it was just an awful trade.
Pick 32.
Yeah. Brutal.
Shit.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Very brutal.
He never did what Jerry did,
Who
and he's
knows?
older.
Maybe playing with a room of DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool is kind of nice.
It is. For Chase Claypool to not be the number
Mm-hmm.
1 could help him a lot.
Yeah.
It's also pretty awesome? Is going to the Nuggets game for free.
Yes.
For free. We are handing out tickets with Breckenridge Beer, the ultimate game day experience. We're giving away tickets to the game, the Nuggets game, playing the Pelicans on March 30th, the end of this month. We're giving 2 courtside row 2 Club Lexus access, parking pass, and DNVR gear. So here's how you enter. You go to thednvr.com/Breck Sweeps. We're pairing up with Breck Brew for this, the official beer of DNVR, to give away these tickets. So go to thednvr.com/Breck Sweeps, or you can just scan the QR code on the screen to get in. There's no downside to doing this. So get in, and you can go to a Nuggets game just before playoffs start.
And if you don't win, but you still want to go to a Nuggets game, you can hit up our friends over at Game Time. Use the link in our description to buy your tickets from Game Time. The best deals on tickets. The longer you wait, the cheaper they get, the better chance you have of going to the game and getting great seats. You could probably capitalize on this Nuggets slump right now for the next home game. The demand probably won't be quite as high. So you can wait it out and try and get tickets to that. Or if you want to go check out some of these March Madness games this weekend, then use the Game Time app and use our link in our description to get over to Game Time and get up to 60% off tickets when you wait. Great deal.
Yeah, Zuriel with a great question saying, are those seats close enough for the Bash Brothers? Row 2, courtside.
Nope.
Wow.
Probably for Alex, not for Josie.
Also, a big shout out to...
I don't know, Alex now, though.
But
Alex has the bag.
No, but Alex said Josie will only go to the game with you if you have courtside seats.
I know, but now he should have even higher standards. Because now he makes even more than Josie
does. That's
does.
just not how he rolls.
We'll see.
He's one of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
he's
if we
going to
see
be
him
down
in
at the bar.
Yeah.
But he did say he was going to bring Josie down to the bar, too.
Yes. I bet Josie's one of those guys who really opens up when he drinks.
Oh, yes. Yeah, even in the locker
He's
room.
pretty
I mean,
open.
Josie's very...
Guarded?
Very guarded
Oh, you think so?
to the media on the podium.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
locker
yeah.
room, he really does open up.
Really?
When the cameras aren't around. When the cameras are around, yes, he is very guarded. And you're like, you have personality in there? Or like, what's going on? But no, he does open up.
It's-
All right.
Where Singleton is just kind of, his personality's there
guy.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of wrapped up that conversation. The Broncos still making moves, dishing money out. The Broncos signed a fullback
Let's
and
go.
a running back
Let's go.
yesterday. And
Combined
from my
like 500
understanding,
pounds.
yeah, seriously, combined 500 pounds. My understanding is you guys are bigger fans of the fullback.
No, I love Samaje Perine. Because he's just a fullback that's fast.
It's very true.
And can
Well,
catch.
he's not
yes,
fast.
he is.
He's fast for a fullback.
Okay, fast for a
Wow.
fullback. I can get there.
He's so fast for a fullback that they made him a running back. And now he just runs people over. I really like Samaje Perine. And again, the Broncos, I feel like Sean Payton looked at this offense and was like, oh my God, they didn't call a play on schedule all season. We just need to have guys that can get us on schedule. Like, run Samaje Perine behind Michael Burton, behind Ben Powers, and we will be on schedule for second down. And I love this. I also like big backs who can catch. And you get a guy here who has good hands, who is borderline elite in pass protection, and can just lumber his way for a good chunk of yards. I'm a fan of this. I really like it.
And to me, he's elite at pass protection. It's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's
Now they have 7 offensive linemen on the field.
Exactly.
Including Chris Manhertz.
It's crazy. Like there was one play, I can't remember again who posted it, but they just motioned him to the line of scrimmage to have him block Micah Parsons one-on-one, and he won. Like he just shut Micah Parsons down.
He's
Again, like just
huge.
playing like a tackle. Like running backs don't do that. So again,
I see what you're saying.
they like before
he
snap
literally
was
was the 6th offensive
they moved
lineman.
him to tight end, yes, and just said like you're one-on-one with Micah Parsons, and it worked. It's
Mike
crazy.
McGlinchey got thrown around by Micah Parsons when he was one-on-one.
Just ask a 49ers fan; they'll tell you all about it.
Didn't give up the
There
sack
you
though on
go.
that play.
Didn't give up
didn't,
this exactly.
no.
That's the other thing when I'm going
their
through all
way.
that. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo's like 14th in the NFL in time to throw out of like 60 guys. That helps. But back to Perine. Third downs, he's awesome. He's great in pass protection. He has great senses leaking out. Nobody really tackles him one-on-one. Well, they do, but he always falls forward if that's the
Yes.
case. Like you never knock him backward one-on-one. So it's a free 2-3 yards. And again, you stay on schedule. And until Javonte's back, you can run in between the tackles and he'll take what's there plus a little bit more. He runs differently than Latavius, but you probably expect pretty similar results.
Yeah, I feel a little differently about this one, and I agree with everything you guys said. I think he is a good football player. I think he's a good number 2. The issue is the Broncos need a 1 for half a season, for the full season, and so Samaje, in my mind, is kind of your third. He should be your third running back on this team if you want to account for Javonte being there as well. And I don't like the amount of money that they paid him to not truly be a 1.
But I think they're going to run him as a 1 until they get Javonte.
And I don't like that then.
Okay.
I don't like him being your 1 for a lot of reasons you guys talked about. He's great in these certain situations, and he can do it all, but I don't like him being your workhorse for a while. So I'm going to kind of put this on pause until the draft and see what they do. And I think this opens up because I don't think they're going to go out and pay another running back. Maybe. I don't think they're going to go out and pay another running back. After paying him 2 years, $7.5 million, almost $4 million, that's a good commitment to a running back. So I don't think you go out and sign another guy for $4 million. So if they go out and they get a solid running back in the draft, then I'll like this move more. Just because I think Samaje can do it all, but he's not great in anything outside of pass protection, where he is very, very good.
He's basically
0 fumbles in 5 years.
Love that.
Yep.
Love that. I put that on Twitter. People hated me for it.
Because they thought you were jinxing him?
It's a stat.
It's so dumb.
It's a
You
plain-
don't talk
it's a part
about
of the
reason you got
stats.
paid.
That's your issue.
You
It's
don't
all
talk about
vibes.
stats.
Vibes.
Oh
No,
my
that-
god,
That's a vibey stat.
Okay,
You don't
Ryan.
talk about vibey stats.
Yeah.
knows.
For anybody who hasn't watched him,
I
though,
don't. It never jinxed Philip Lindsay. We've talked about it 1,000
True.
times.
It's very true.
he's basically just C.J. Anderson. He is literally C.J. Anderson.
I love that.
Like, I don't even know where I'd go to say, like, oh, here's a difference. Like, it's the same guy.
Fantastic news.
CJ more of a workhorse though.
You think so? I mean, I guess he did it more.
Yes.
Like, there was only a couple games
I
where
think that's his
P-Rod did it.
upside. That's his like highest upside. Is
The
being
question is
CJ.
just, can he do it every play?
Exactly,
I guess.
and he hasn't done that his entire career. No, he
it's just
also
Joe
hasn't
Mixon.
really been given in those opportunities. But maybe there's a reason as well, because it's not like
Joe
this is
Mixon.
his third year. But also before he got there, so it's not like he's like so young where he hasn't been given these. The good
I
thing
think
is
Mixon got there first because he's already on a second contract.
no, Samaje's been other teams
Oh.
before Mixon.
Oh, okay. Oh, he was. Yeah.
I just think Sean Payton said, we're going to run 1,000 pounds at you whatever direction we go. And you're just not going to be able to stop that for and keep us off schedule. And I kind of like it. I want to see how that works, especially as everyone's had to get lighter at positions like linebacker because of all the passing that's going on.
Yep.
You're sending Garrett Bowles, Ben Powers, Michael Burton, and Samaje Perine for a run to the left side. You should absolutely be able to move these people around and keep the offense on schedule. He's not going to break big runs, which is why I want to go get Deuce Vaughn in the draft to have your jitterbug, speed guy to pop one off once in a while, wear him down, and then hit him with Deuce or someone along those lines. But I like this strategy that Sean Payton is employing of just getting the Broncos bigger and stronger and more physical.
So 2 things you said. Samaje, I believe, had the lowest big play percent in the entire NFL last year. So you're just simply not going to get that from him. But he did have more yards after contact than Joe Mixon, a first-round running back who the Bengals pay, or second-round running back, I guess, who the Bengals paid big money to. So I just, and again, what it comes back to is, Ryan, I love that, being able to do that. But if you don't have Javonte for half a season or the whole year, I just don't think you can run with Perine play after play after play.
Yeah.
I think he needs a very good complement
you
to him.
probably don't bring back Latavius now.
That's the tough part because I came into this saying they're going to probably sign 2 running backs in free agency and then draft one, but I figured one of the guys you sign is probably Latavius, who comes in at like $1 million exactly,
and is also a similar size and stature in terms of
and
bruiser.
so that's what makes it even tougher. And so now that you've kind of paid a tweener guy, I kind of thought, Like, oh yeah, you're gonna give $5 million a year to this guy. You're gonna pay $1 million to Latavius. You draft a guy. Those are your 3 going into the season. If Beatty earns a roster spot till Javonte gets back, then great. But when you give somebody that mid amount of money, it just I don't know what you do.
Muddies
But
the waters.
Latavius kind of overlaps, like you said. I guess Samaje would take the third downs. Latavius would take
And even
first, and then
Javonte
you figure
skews
everything
more
out.
to that side of the running back.
Yes.
Style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I agree. It's not Latavius.
I
Yeah,
think,
it's kinda
mean,
sad.
the dream situation is the NFL says, oh, Miles Sanders, you were only good because of the holes that the offensive line gave you. And so your speed showed up. When your speed doesn't show up because there's no holes, you don't add all that much. And so the value falls, and the Broncos are able to get Miles Sanders in on a similar deal, which is really unlikely, but he hasn't signed anywhere yet. Running back market is slow. Then all of a sudden you have a guy who is kind of unplayable on third downs combined with Perine, who's a third down guy, and then you can kind of figure out how exactly you want to balance that. But that's a great combination.
Yeah, and if you're signing 2 guys for $7 million, that's what you thought Miles Sanders was going to be, and that is how you sign a second guy there, is if he comes in at half the value, and that's what happens in the second wave of free agency, which we're pretty much entering now, and the third wave of free agency the end of this week and next week as well. But I'm just thinking more realistically, they're going to go try to find their Miles Sanders, that sort of running back, in the draft.
Yeah.
I think that Miles Sanders fumbles.
Oh.
But no,
People
if you
don't
say
like
that,
fumbles.
according to the Jinx Police, then you can
Wow.
say that because
That
then
is
he
true.
won't fumble.
Let me
No,
see.
it only works the other way. Zach.
Although we tried
It-
that last year with Melvin, and it didn't.
That
It
is
didn't
true.
Melvin
really
also just
work
looks
out.
bad. Like
The
when you're a
tough-
bad running back, what are you supposed to do? Like
True.
Wow.
The tough part about
Trash, man. We're trash podcast.
drafting the other guy is that then you go into the season with Perine and the rookie, and then Beatty or Demarie Crockett makes the roster. They might even want to carry forward. Imagine with Javonte coming back, they carry 3 until that point. So then you still probably go add like $1 million vet from somewhere, or even draft 2 because they're still short a running back.
That's why I'm saying I
9
don't
career
love
fumble-
this.
Exactly.
This move for the contract.
You
9
got the
career
tweener
fumbles
guy.
in 4 years, so not a problem per se.
And the good thing about Perine, he's fumbled twice in his career.
Both as a rookie.
his rookie year. That means 5 straight years with no fumbles. Those are just the facts right there. I don't even need to touch wood when we're talking facts.
Oh,
He's
no.
240 pounds. His muscles are bigger than the ball. No wonder he doesn't fumble.
Bookmark this one.
Michael Burton talk. Michael Burton talk.
Yeah, talk
Yeah.
about him.
He kind of looks like Andy Janovich.
It's because he's a fullback. and
Exactly.
War
Yep.
number 32 does the like war paint.
He spent time in the Midwest recently.
Yes.
Super Bowl champion.
I love fullbacks, man.
And
Just
this
do.
Yeah.
this isn't a tweener like Andrew Beck was, who signed with the Texans.
Which
this
I was not a fan of Andrew
Yeah.
Beck, the fullback.
this is a real fullback. Don't count on him to do too much. He scored 1 touchdown in his career.
Hit people in the mouth.
Yes.
That's what he does. That's what he does for a living.
It's exactly what he does.
it
Any more fullback
rules.
talk?
Yes. Use him so much.
I think they're going to. Sean Payton has clearly made that a point of emphasis this week.
Yep. If Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson from last year, we're going to be seeing a lot of Michael Burton.
I even think if they want Russell Wilson to be really good, we're going to be seeing a lot of Michael Burton because it's just going to be a ton of running and then a ton of play action.
Yeah. And
You would
then you
think.
got like Greg Dulcich and Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy going out in routes.
Just have to pray that Greg Dulcich learned how to block this offseason. If he can block, all of a sudden, all of it just adds up
Got
perfectly.
Manhertz, man.
I know, but then so then you take Dulcich off the field?
Yeah.
But then
On
that's such a
obvious run
waste.
Then
situations.
you only have no.
I know, but
what I'm saying is to open up
Exactly.
the pass game. You're bringing in.
Well, then two
these-
tight or two tight ends.
But then you're still like, what if he blows the block when you're asking him to block?
on the weak side, you're not even asking him to block.
Well, then you
But
do that every time, and the
If you come
offense
out
says
with 2 tight
it's-
ends and 2 backs, then you can only have 1 wide receiver on the field.
That's
yeah,
fine.
I mean,
That's fine,
isn't
yeah.
this why you're bringing Sean Payton in, is to figure it out?
You saw me go
to
15 and 2
scheme
in
it up?
Madden.
Yeah, well, then what happened?
I stopped playing the game. I got bad. I didn't touch my playbook for months.
Montrell Washington put on notice this morning.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that he was on
Why?
thin ground.
Broncos signed a cornerback, but more so, they signed a returner, a kick returner primarily, from the Houston Texans. They paid him $5.5 million, 2 years. Tremon Smith. He ran a 4.33 40 coming out of college.
Oh, wait, one more thing about Samaje Perine.
Okay.
All-time single-game leading rusher in NCAA history.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon set the record, and then Samaje Perine obliterated it like 2 weeks later.
I think it was the next week.
Yeah.
So electric.
It's like 433,
I think it's 427.
427.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine?
Think about that.
Yeah, it's especially for a big boy.
427 in one game.
I wonder how many rushing yards he has in the NFL.
I believe 1,500.
Oh, okay.
A third in one game, essentially.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what the number is.
Anyways, Tremon Smith. Why does that name stand out to me so much?
No idea.
Because he's sick. Because he's had a few like the 97-yard touchdown return. I think there was like a 98-yarder that somehow wasn't a touchdown. Like he's a threat to make plays as a returner. Again, 4.33 speed. And on top of that, like he'll be the number 3 corner basically, with K1 just being slot guy.
Right.
He might. I think that last year might have been one of them.
Was
It
he
was
what?
recent. His touchdown was maybe it was a few
No,
years
I think
ago.
it was 2021.
Yeah.
And
Wow, he's been on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
he also really looks like Bradley Roby.
Oh wow, yeah.
Especially
I mean,
like
do you see
on
it?
the field with the Texans jersey.
Yes. The last touchdown he scored was in
2021.
2021, like I thought.
So you got Roby, Anderson, and Janovich all back in the team.
As a punt returner, though, he's only had 9 career punt returns. So he's really a kick returner. Where, as a kick returner, he's had 94.
Okay.
Montreal should be hoping that Courtland gets traded. Well, I guess more so KJ. Courtland they'll replace. KJ they might not.
Speaking of that, not very good news
Yes,
coming
we do,
out.
Jacob. It's the best thing Melvin's ever done.
Speaking of Courtland, not very good news. The Patriots have signed Juju Smith-Schuster, so that could potentially take
Interesting.
them out of the running for one of the Broncos wide receivers. But, that was a big team that was connected to Broncos wide receivers. This, I would think it takes them out of that. At least it doesn't make them as desperate. So just in the end, not the best news.
I wonder what the numbers are on that one. Because he's one where, like, if he gets $5 million, you're like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, he was finally good again, but with Mahomes. But also, if he gets, like, 15, you're like, I mean, it is Juju. He has a 1,400-yard season.
3-year, $33 million deal with 22.5 in the first 2 years.
Right in the middle.
So
Makes
11
sense.
mil.
Yeah. Again, I mean, there's that 11 mil tier. That's where guys get paid. And what he had, I think he had over 900 last year.
I was going to say, and not even with the Mahomes boost, I think he's had significantly better seasons.
He had the 1,400-yard season
Yeah, so he's probably
But again,
in
that
a
was
different tier
also-
than Courtland.
as a rookie.
And his TikTok is big, right?
His TikTok is big.
Pay him for the TikTok and hope that
So yeah, 129 the year before,
You pay him
831
to
before
not
that,
do the
552.
Yeah, seriously.
He's Courtland tier.
Was he on TikTok? But his high is way higher than Courtland's.
It was also 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and he hasn't come close to it since.
When was Courtland's?
4 years ago? But he's
Four-
come
4 years
but,
ago.
But over the last 3 years,
How much did Juju have last year?
last year he was over 900.
Well, then,
Well, no, but then
he-
year before that, 100 and something. Year before that, 500
but
and
you
something.
just said he hasn't been close to that, where he just had a better year than Courtland had last
Yeah,
year.
but he hasn't been close to 1,400.
Courtland hasn't been close to 1,400.
No,
What
he
are you-
hasn't
what are you
either.
talking
I did
about?
Also, he's
What do you
playing
mean?
with Mahomes.
Yeah, last year.
Yes.
Courtland's been a lot more consistent. That's the difference.
Courtland
Not
has
on a
not
game-to-game
been
basis.
himself since he's been hurt. And that's probably also
Yeah.
something that the Broncos and other teams have to factor in is, can he come back to that 1,100-yard receiver, or is he totally different after that injury?
It's true.
I don't
By
think
the
he's
way,
that different at all.
Russ gets crushed for being corny all the time, which he is corny. That stupid fucking video that Juju made is the corniest thing an NFL player has ever done.
Which one?
The like kidnapping stage
Yeah.
thing where he was like trying to dunk on the Eagles.
I just
I
stay
have
out
no
of that
idea
stuff.
what you're even
It
Yeah.
talking about.
I'll
I
show
saw-
you after this. It's the cringiest thing.
I saw he got like pulled into a van. I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
watching this.
It's so cringy. I don't root against a lot of players. He's one.
I think a lot of people root against him.
Even after he leaves the Chiefs.
Yes.
The Chiefs hate is what
Like
makes
I
it.
want him to like get mossed on every play that he gets the ball thrown to him and like embarrassed. You just don't get to act like he does when you're not that good.
Over the cap valued him at 9.3 last year. Juju.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shall we talk to the people? Getting into some super chats and comments on the website?
Yes.
All right, let's see what we've got. Chris coming in, he says, no defending Sutton too much, but you have to consider quarterback play and play calling when looking at all wide receivers. Run, pass was so predictable. For the contract, I disagree. You can find a better wide receiver talent.
Get ready for run, pass. I'll tell you what.
People are calling me a big hater today, but I'm just so sick of every single year we and everyone come out and say like, no, it was because of last year's regime, last year's quarterback play. I'm sure we can find some wide receivers that had worse quarterback play or bad quarterback play, underwhelming quarterback play on bad offenses that put up better numbers.
What did Garrett Wilson do last year?
Again, though, I mean, that's somebody
you
who's
guys, I don't think he's really
supposed to
gonna do
be
much
like a
this
Pro
year.
Bowler. 1,100.
Yeah. Well, that's more of a Jerry comp.
Exactly. And that's
but-
yeah.
Well, and we're talking about a rookie
Yeah.
with
He was
Zach
nice.
Wilson, with offensive coordinator that was fired after the year.
Yeah, no, I'm making your point.
Yeah,
But again,
no,
that's-
I'm just emphasizing it. I'm emphasizing it.
Zach just wants to fight.
Again, that's why you look at and say like 24th paid receiver by AAV, 31st production, plus then you factor in all the guys on rookie deals. It's not that far off.
Jacob says, Courtland has played scared ever since he came back from the injury. The fearlessness he showed in 2019 when he was going up to make a catch is gone. Too often he looks terrified to go and make a play.
I think that's the biggest difference with him after the injury is we've talked about the 50-50 balls, the jump balls are just not there. And that was such a big part of his game, specifically in that Pro Bowl season. Jacob Weddle says, I would also be on board. Oh, it's this one. He says, from my old Sith Bone, says, Giants fans here, Jeudy at the Giants, love to see reunite with Dayball. What do you think it's going to take?
We already
Kind of
did
talked
this.
about, yeah. Top 10
and
pick and it's
to
done.
be fair, this could have come top 10
What's
pick and
the
it's
Giants'
done.
first round pick?
They were playoffs.
It's probably like 20th. Well, they won a playoff game, so 22nd or something like that.
Yeah, you're going to need to throw in some more. Sorry.
Yep.
No, that would get it done.
You would do it?
That would get that would get it done from the Broncos
Wow.
perspective.
Such a
I think I need to bring you guys back to earth with.
I think we
with
bring
the
you back to
value.
earth.
No, you would be like.
Just run the triple
You'd be doing
option
the
at that point.
opposite. Yeah, maybe they will. Taysom Hill, where you at?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's all Sean Payton's missing for this offense, right? Is this Taysom Hill?
I'm down with the idea of a Taysom Hill player. I just don't want it to be Taysom Hill himself.
Could be a draft pick this year.
Yeah.
Would not shock me at all.
That was the worst part,
Or
signing
like
the
go get
fullback.
like a running quarterback from like the CFL.
Hunter Lepke from North Dakota State is about to be the best fullback in the NFL. And I was really hoping the Broncos would sign him or draft him. And when they cut back, I was like, oh shit, the door's open. And they brought in another fullback. And so,
Next one coming in from Jacob now. He says, I would also be on board with trading KJ for a bag of chips and drafting Trey Palmer in the third. He's taller, better hands, and hasn't been injured.
Of course, you want to sign a Nebraska guy, but he actually was kind of nice.
like, of course he's better, though. The point is, like, he would just be your number 4 receiver. Unless you make another move. And also, the other...
Didn't Trey Palmer run a crazy fast 40?
I think he did.
Yeah, like 4.3 something.
That was the one day I watched. Combine kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Next one from the Great Bros, essentially saying, can we still get CJ Gardner-Johnson?
Yes, but I forgot something yesterday when I was praising him.
Tell me.
He had an anti-Jokic tweet,
He did.
and
3 days ago.
so I'm out.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been deleted. Like, he kept it up.
He'll delete it after he signs with the Broncos.
I actually wanted to ask you that because that was when I saw that. You're the first person I thought of. I thought, is Ryan out now?
He just, we had something really great.
Wow.
He ruined it all. So, Darius Slay, let's go.
There you go. Darius
Yeah.
Slay available.
I'm curious what it'll cost to get him. That's a tough one because he's 32 is the tough part. So is anybody giving him 2-year deals.
He
Like,
has Acrobat, dude.
Probably 2-year
You
deal.
probably give him 2
with
years.
1 year fully guaranteed.
yeah. What, 15 a year?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think he'd probably take that much. Like, he was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
13?
Next one from Ian B says, no one other than PS2 I wouldn't take a first for.
Interesting.
No one other. Wait, so what is that? Oh, so he would take a late
Take
round.
a first for any
late
player on
round
the
one.
team other
Yeah.
than.
Not far off. Yeah.
That's probably right on. The Great Browse again says CJ Gardner Johnson possibilities. Really wants CJ.
Yeah. Jokic tweet.
Honestly, the longer he stays out on the market, the more affordable he comes, just like with all these guys. You see it with Orlando Brown, what's happening with him. You do risk trying to get more money on the first day, and if no one pays you, then money just starts evaporating, and then you got to kind of sign a 1-year prove-it deal. So I imagine if CJ comes here, it's more of that. It's more of a 1-year prove-it deal because he didn't get the value that he thought the market was going to present.
It is wild watching this Eagles team just be shattered.
Yep.
Like, I just don't even understand why either. Like, it's not like you're paying Jalen Hurts. Like, where's all this money going?
AJ Brown's
they
getting
signed a
paid. The
bunch-
offensive line has got to be getting paid a
Yeah.
ton.
When they signed a bunch of short-term deals.
True.
Yeah, that's very true. Jelly says 3, 4, and 5 for Sutton and Hamler. You taking it? You're getting offered a 3, 4, and 5 for Sutton and Hamler.
Depends. I mean,
Yes.
is that top 5 of the 3, back 5 of the 3rd? Like,
I'm taking it
you are?
for sure.
If there's a 3 involved, yeah, absolutely, I'm taking it.
I'm probably in.
Man,
I might need a 2 to
we pulled
pull
you
the
from
trigger.
a 2 to
No,
late 3 now, maybe.
But 3 with a 4 and a 5.
Okay, which sure.
I still think I probably need a 2, but I'd have to do the math here, and
Chris says, you guys can't comp Juju production to Sutton and simultaneously say you're tired of using QB play as an excuse. Sutton would do well with Mahomes. Yeah, yes,
yeah, he would have put up better numbers than Juju.
maybe.
probably.
I mean, yeah. Give him Mahomes? Like, add
probably-
another 50 yards to his total?
Yeah, he probably does.
60 yards? I think that's fair.
Sure. I'm just saying, Juju's had a 1,400-yard season.
Yeah.
So I just think
So is Michael Thomas.
the kind of point that I've liked to that I wanted to bring today was just pulling us a little bit back from the home, because everyone thinks that their players are better than the outside world.
You can
does.
pull me back on Sutton, just not on Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, more teams need to do secret 3-team trades. This is my take of the day.
Oh, boy.
So let's say the Broncos want Austin Eckler,
Okay.
but the Chargers don't want to trade him in division. The Broncos have to call up like the Eagles and say, all right, here's the deal. You trade for Austin Eckler. We'll trade you Courtland Sutton then for Austin Eckler.
Oh, I love that.
Also, the Cowboys just cut Zeke.
Yep. That was reported. It was
That
going to
could
happen
be your
this
1 and
morning.
2, and then your
Boys,
3rd.
let's
I
go.
know.
Or
I
is he your
know.
center?
Put Perine there.
Broncos need a center.
It is their biggest need.
Zeke has played a snap at center in the past
I'm going to start calling them the Broncos with 2 C's.
because they're thick.
Yep.
Wow.
Please get Zeke. I don't even like him. I just want more thick players.
Russ is kind of the thickest one.
I know. He's
Should we hit some comments
not
on the
thickest
website
one,
really
but
quick?
at least maybe relatively to his position.
Yeah. Still playing.
On the website, Nash Bronco says the Perine signing really tells us nothing about Javonte's health. Not sure how much they really know at this point, but still, he can start, but he won't run away with the job. He will probably split time with a rookie or other free agent. I like the signing, and with the team's obvious proclivity to run the ball, it seems like Russ will have no excuse to have a year remotely as bad as last year. They're taking him off the high dive, that's for sure.
They're just setting him in one of those little like blue pools in the backyard.
Saying have fun with.
Unless they
There's like this much water in it.
unless they
can't.
trade Jerry, that's when it gets dangerous.
That's when he's back on the high dive.
then they're just like putting him in like a crib.
Well, I mean, you gotta throw a couple times. You gotta throw 10, 15 times a game minimum.
Just call up Air Force.
That's very true. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Oh, Hogue was in my mentions yesterday. I tweeted like the fullback thing, like most important position on the field or something like that. And he was like, agreed. I wanted to respond like, how sick would Justin Fields be as a fullback, but just didn't have the heart to pull the trigger.
Wow.
But how sick would he be as a fullback? He'd be incredible.
He's way too tall.
Yeah, he's not thick enough.
He's strong. I mean, he's like 220, 225.
Yeah, but at 6'3",
Yeah, I mean, it's a little lanky.
That's not thick.
He would be sick.
No.
Oh, he's putting up numbers. He's everybody's favorite fullback.
No,
He's going to the Pro
fullbacks
Bowl.
don't put up numbers.
That's why he'd be the best one.
Tim Tebow would be the best fullback.
I know, That's where I went too. I was like,
Yes.
wow, you know who actually would have been awesome? Tebow.
Arvada Luke says, woo!
But he probably
I
would've.
can't remember the last time we had a big day one. Elway was always a wait-and-see free agency guy. How much more money can we free up? Spend, baby, spend. Darius Slay, just enjoying the fun right now. All these moves feel like they should work, so I'm going to ride those good vibes for all they're worth. Now, how not shook are we with the other moves around the AFC West so far? I've been laughing at Jose's comment for days. Call me a raccoon because I love this trash podcast. Cheers, Arvada Luke.
No one's made a good move in the division yet.
Just however you view Juwan Taylor.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the biggest move
It was kind of a
outside of what
one
the
for
Broncos
one.
have done.
Well,
Yeah.
and what I take from that is that they think he's at least as good as Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
Like I think that they might think that Orlando Brown is a little overvalued. Otherwise, you just pay the extra $2-3 million and get Orlando Brown.
I agree with that.
Which is interesting.
So, but I mean, that's just like a swap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
basically.
yeah, but that was the
The
biggest
Raiders
signing.
got worse. The Chargers haven't done anything notable. They
No,
might lose Austin Eckler.
They had their fun last year
Yeah.
or the year before.
They all that fun just to blow a lead in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yep.
Massive lead.
Next one from Bronco Tiz says tinfoil hat time, maybe. After seeing the demands of Aaron Rodgers, what if Aaron Rodgers told Payton to hire Hackett? Then Aaron Rodgers gave Payton a list of demands. Bring in Adams, Lazard, whatever he wanted, either via trade or free agency. And Payton said, F this, get Russell Wilson on the phone. And all that drama with Russell would have been 10 times as much with Aaron, and Payton stopped it before it got out of control.
If that's the case, then George Paton's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Also-
If you've hired Nathaniel Hackett for Aaron Rodgers, you've accepted the I'm doing whatever Aaron Rodgers wants.
And then when it comes to signing a receiver, you're like, that's too far. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like the fact that everybody says Rodgers doesn't have weapons. What are you doing? And then he's like, yeah, I need Alan Lazard. Like, bring my weapons with me.
But he complained about the weapons. I don't get it.
Exactly. And I guess you get Garrett Wilson too, but like, you need Alan Lazard. Like, you were talking shit for years.
If OBJ's healthy though, and Alan Lazard
Cobb?
is your third receiver, and you have Garrett Wilson and
Wow.
OBJ, then he did significantly upgrade.
OBJ,
Sure.
yeah.
I just
Then you're talking about 2 number 1 wide receiver, like 2 first-round pick wide receivers that he's playing with.
Yeah.
Something
I
he's
kind of
never
respect Aaron Rodgers just taking care of the boys on his way out.
had.
Exactly.
What's so funny is he may not be traded, and he could retire, and he got his guys contracts.
I'm glad. I'm glad that that it's not happening to my team. But I'm like, damn, Aaron Rodgers might actually be a homie. Like, got Hackett 2
no,
jobs.
get out.
Yeah.
Got Hackett 2
okay,
jobs.
just a homie for his guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like
okay.
got all of his guys new contracts, all this stuff. Like all he cares about is taking care of the boys.
Yep.
It's kind of respectable.
Yep.
And with his relationship things in the past, he does put the boys first.
Yep.
He does put the boys first.
Man. And Moogie94, we got 2 left. Amazing few days of free agency. Just needed that CJ news to truly seal it. Zach's Daily Digest on Broncos News keeps me afloat. Also, thanks, Hank, for pronouncing Gonzaga
Oh yeah.
and
Yes.
Spokane correctly.
Yes.
Inland Northwest. Let's
Spokane?
ride.
Yes.
LOL.
Spokane.
Spokane.
I
That's
guessed
how
on both
that's
of them.
how everyone says.
Oh, one of people say Spokane.
Oh
No, I'd say Spokane. Spokane.
a lot
Spokane.
of people from that area of the country have come to your defense. So you were right on that one.
Oh, I know I'm right.
Well, I'm just admitting
It's
that you were
again,
right.
I know. It's like if you were saying like, oh, it's actually Colorado College. It's like, no, that's not Colorado College.
No one has ever said that.
No, but I mean, just geographically, you've heard it enough times. Old private school down there, you know.
And last one coming in from the count. How many Zacks would it take to pancake block the Glinch? Love the count.
I don't think there's an amount.
I disagree with you. Mike McGlinchey is very, very tall.
He can be wobbly.
And
at
he
times.
gets off balance a little bit. Now, I'm not saying it's a 1-for-1, but it could be done. It could be done. And we're talking blindside pancake block.
That's illegal.
It doesn't matter. We're answering a
against the
question.
rules.
We're answering. Didn't you say blindside? Oh no,
I think it
just
has to be
pancake block.
pancake,
Never
yeah.
mind. So he does know I'm coming.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know if you
7?
But how would that 7 like make their force all come to the same place?
Yeah.
You get 2 and 2 on each side, and you get enough space to get them.
I think it's 7.
I'm going.
It just let's stampede.
How much does he weigh?
Like 300.
Depends on the year. 290,
Yeah, that is true.
Average him out at 300.
325 at one point.
Well, that's about 3 of me. So
Thing is, like, to pancake, I imagine like you can't like
gotta like take him
tackle
down.
him. Like you have to use your hands to push him over.
It's like Micah Parsons style, kind of.
No, that was more of like a hip toss.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like you have to push him over.
And you don't think 4 of me could do it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Wow.
Take 7.
We got to ask him. As Henry gets drilled by Alex Singleton, I'll ask Mike McGlinchey if I can push him over.
I don't think you have to ask.
I don't even think maybe the 3 of us timed up could do it.
Okay, so you're giving yourself more credit than me, I see.
Well, I'm worth 2 of you,
Okay.
Yep.
and Henry is another 1.5.
1.5?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're saying
4.5.
You're saying 5 of me could do it. That's the line.
I still think
think
7.
so.
Four and
I
a
just
half.
worry about how you're going to concentrate the force with 10 hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's
10
a
hands
point.
is a lot of hands.
There's a couple
though.
guys just running into backs,
You know?
which means they aren't doing as much, and that's why you need more.
Okay, 5's the answer. There we go.
Adamar is asking for more respect for his alma mater, Colorado College.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. I compare it to Gonzaga. As a former Colorado College basketball player, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be kind of a compliment comparing it to Gonzaga?
Oh,
There you
spin.
go.
Certainly.
There you
yeah.
go. Thank
Yeah,
you.
All right,
that
I think
is.
that's all we got today.
Super chat real quick for Jacob Weddle.
Jacob making it rain today. I am an NU homer, but Trey Palmer is special. Ran 4.33 at the combine and torched the 5th best defense in the nation in his last game. He's a baller. Yeah, he's so
Yep.
good. He got them like 3 wins.
Good one.
From a receiver position.
I'm just messing. He actually is nice. I drafted him in Madden.
Nice.
Yep.
Wait, what? Someone's saying they put $50 on the Nuggets because of me? Did I give Nuggets out recently?
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been giving Nuggets out recently, but you worried about him? Speaking of Adam Mares?
Oh, how could
Just
you
the
not be? It's
vibes.
terrifying.
I only worry about the vibes.
The vibes are so bad. They've never been worse. I mean, this is awful.
They've definitely been worse, but
Really? I guess injuries. Yeah, there's injuries.
Really bad.
yeah.
Oh, but the pain right now. Again, the thing is, I thought they were going to go win a championship 11 days ago. Like 11 days ago, I was saying they're going to the
kinda like
final. I like their matchup against the Celtics. I think they're winning a championship. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, oh God, every team kind of scares me.
For me, it's like you're gonna go through a patch at some point. Even like every team goes through a patch.
Yeah.
Last year at the end of the year.
Well,
Yeah.
they just kind
That's
of
true.
quit on purpose.
You don't think the Nuggets pretty much after securing the number 1 seed kind of did the same?
Well, I think they
Just way
might
too
have
early.
turned it down a notch, thinking they could, and then they didn't expect to lose 4 in a row, and now they might have to like crank it back on, which is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, get on the treadmill when it's already going fast.
Yeah.
And after a hard workout.
Yeah, so I'm not worried. Like I'm banking on the fact that they're gonna break out of it,
Yeah.
and as soon as that happens,
Yeah.
this will be completely behind me. I'll forget about it entirely.
Is that
worst
1 win,
part-
2, 3? Like what has to happen? 7 of 10?
They actually still have a winning record in their last like 10 games,
Yeah.
or they're at least 500 in their last 10 games. But I would take 3 in a row.
3 in a row. Well, certainly they can do that.
I
Yeah.
think what scares me the most is just Jamal Murray's refusal to play within the offense. They would maybe not have won
Getting
all.
too in the weeds now.
No, but if they would have won 2 or 3 of those games, if he just would not just go ISO ball. People complain about the defense. It's just because they keep because he misses 15 shots a game, and that's 15 transition pushes.
He's trying to shoot himself out of it.
Seeing D-Line's Jamalo-meter has been depressing recently.
Yeah. BK says Lakers will destroy the Nuggets in the playoffs. Gotta get there
Whoa,
first there, bud.
Lakers.
Well,
That's- okay, that's
was
one that
it?
doesn't scare me.
First Take or something
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
They all picked the Lakers.
I just don't even get it.
They don't know ball. It's okay.
There we go.
What? Jokic would be a best player in series. MPJ,
Stop.
AG probably
Don't
too.
even
Sorry.
give them this much run.
Okay, sorry.
All right, we're
Sorry.
done. If you want to hear about the Nuggets more,
We're done.
just tune in.
MPJ
DNVR
is second best
Nuggets
player.
later. We will talk to you guys later.